Hello loves and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about Santa Muerte, La Negra. This is like a long awaited video because you guys know I've been taking my time getting settled into my apartment. It's just been taking a minute to do everything. But we're going to be talking about La Negra today. But before we get started, I just want to remind you guys of all the updates that are currently happening. One, I did just publish the new episode of my podcast, Between Ascension. I'll have the link down below so you can listen to it. It's all about enemies and predators. Really good conversation to have. I think it's a very needed conversation to have. So definitely make sure that you check it out. It will be linked down in the description. The second update is that there's only a couple more, I think, weeks left to use the code This is Halloween in all caps to get 50% off all of my services, all of my readings, all of my sessions, because I'm having a Halloween special right now because it's Halloween season and I wanted to do something for my favorite holiday. So yeah, definitely make sure you take advantage of it if you need a reading, if you need Reiki, energy healing, meditation, if you need past life reading, like tarot reading, astrology reading, whatever it is that you need, the link to my website will be down below. And also there's still some tickets left for the Empowering Your Crown workshop that we're doing, which is all about working with your head, working with your hair. We're going to be doing a hair activation meditation. It's going to be really cool. I'm really excited for the whole entire process because I think we need to be talking about safeguarding this space, right? So that's going to be a really cool workshop. I'm so excited about it. And lastly, the last update is that this month we're also having our Akashic Records 5-hour intensive class, which is where for 5 hours I teach you how to read the Akashic Records, how to heal your past lives, how to talk to your ancestors in your records, how to heal different, it's a lot. It's an intensive course. So definitely make sure you check that down below in my website as well. With that being said, we're gonna get started in talking about Santísima, specifically La Negra, okay? So I told you guys that I'm doing a series on each color, just breaking down, how to work with her with each color. And La Negra is, we've covered 2 colors so far, correct? Right? White and red, La Roja y La Blanca. So La Negra definitely has a reputation. I would say it's one of her 3 main colors. So her 3 main colors are black, red, and white. Okay. All of these 3 colors cover the 3, I would say, biggest things that people go to her for, even though Santísima it's very universal. Santa Muerte can be worked with for literally anything. This is why she has so many colors, because she covers so many aspects of life, of existence. Okay, so let's just do a recap on Santa Muerte's general energies, as you know, her being death itself, right? So when it comes to death energies, and working with death, even being a death practitioner and stuff like that, when working with death energy, you have to keep in mind that death is happening all the time, okay? And I'm not saying it to downplay when someone passes, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the concept of death happens all of the time in big and in small ways. So that's kind of one of the takeaways that I want you to take from this conversation. Death is always happening. Death can look like you ending a relationship and being single, so that is the death of that relationship. Death could look like you switching your toothpaste to a different flavor, so that is the death of you, using that same flavor for how long you were using it for. Now you're switching to something new. It's a new experience, new flavor, new thing. And death can be also a transition, whether it be your spirit, transitioning out of your physical form, or just a general transition that you're going to. That is how death happens. Therefore, when you understand death outside of a very restrictive, restrained, when you die, you're just being ripped out of your body. It just feels like it almost traumatizes us with how we relate to endings, right? When you look at death itself, when you actually try to understand how you're working with death, then things starts to have a little bit of a different perspective, right? Because you can argue, and I can argue, honestly, I can argue about it a lot. You can argue that when it comes to death work, death is a huge part of all spiritual work that we do as practitioners. Let's just keep it real now. If you are doing a spell for protection, you are trying to transition out of a space where you don't feel protected, and you're trying to maintain boundaries. Okay, so if you were feeling not protected before, the point is for you to transition into a place where you are feeling way more protective and you are more grounded with yourself. If you are doing some sort of love magic, for example, and you are calling in a new relationship, or you're trying to do some healing, let's say you have a partner and you're trying to address certain issues in the relationship, you are practicing in many ways death magic, because you are trying to transition the relationship, the issue that you're having, and you're trying to shift it into something else. So death work is always happening, right? And so that makes Santa Muerte one of the most amazing beings to work with, because Santissima is the embodiment of death energy, right? This is why all of her colors rule like every single aspect of life that you can have an issue or a need for. Santissima literally covers everything. Like there's a lot of different, you know, spirits, deities, beings, right, that cover one section of life, right? They'll cover love, or they'll be really good for war, or they'll be really good for protection, or to draw in money, or whatever it is, or abundance and stuff like that. Santissima is literally all of it, because Santissima is the transitionary period from one thing to another. So if you're having financial issues, working with Santissima to end those issues so that you can transition to where you're more financially stable. This is what I mean by like amazing for everything. But when it comes to La Negra has a specific things that are associated with La Negra. Now, La Negra tends to have a bad reputation because La Negra, her black form with the black cloak, is the version that most people know when it comes to her helping and working with cartels. The thing about Santissima is that everybody should understand and process is that she will literally work with anybody. So if somebody's in need and somebody goes to her, that ain't your business. And if that person happens to be in a part of a thing, like that's still not your business. That is their business. So when it comes to, you know, a lot of the demonizing that people do to Santissima is always her black side. Okay, because this is the one that specifically, this is her form that a lot of people use for different things, including, okay, can be used to attack folks, for strength, for power, can be used for baneful stuff, okay, can be used to bring justice or on enemies, to also break hexes, break spells from a lot of different spiritual modalities is what I'm going to call it. Can be used for protection, hex breaking, also really amazing for the home, to keep the family structure, and to protect the family structure, family dynamic, the foundation of the family. Really great for death work, obviously. Really amazing for businesses as well, especially if you need protection with your business, if you need strength or more grounding within your business, removing obstacles, enemies, nemesis, okay? Santissima is amazing, like La Negra specifically is amazing for removing obstacles, for really empowering you, okay? But she just tends to have her black form tends to have just a bad rep, okay, because people just give her a bad rep, but she's actively a sweetheart, I will say that. La Negra is a sweetheart. La Negra definitely has a different, I would say, slightly different demeanor than some of her other colors. There's a seriousness with La Negra. For those who practice with La Negra, you would be able to confirm this in the comments, but there's a little bit more of a seriousness with La Negra as well. I find that La Negra is often the one that I see in cemeteries. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, I said it wrong. I find that La Negra is often the one that I see at funerals. That's what I meant to say. I often find that I see La Negra the most at funerals, over her other colors. Sometimes I've seen white once, but it's mainly La Negra that will go to the funerals, because of that family dynamic focus that she has, that La Negra has, and that family like unity, that family like clearing obstacles, opening up the path for growth, for strength, for power. La Negra tends to be there the most when I've been to all literally funerals I have been to in the past 12 years. I have seen her there, because that's just part of like, she's needed there. She's needed in those spaces. And I'm not surprised to see her there either, because I feel like that the family is in mourning. So her spirit is very much needed there. Not just for the person who's passed, but also for the family itself, like navigating that transition, like the emotions and everything like that. Santísima. So yeah, Santa Muerte La Negra is very, is definitely like there if you need her, but she has a very like almost like a old spirit type of like almost Gandalf, Dumbledore kind of essence to her, where it's, I don't know, her demeanor, like you if you start working with La Negra first, like right away, you might feel slightly intimidated or something like that. But I think that La Negra she's a sweetheart. She's generally a sweetheart. She's very helpful. She's very comforting. She's very great with empowerment and power and just like, you know, giving you that, and assisting you with that, when you need it. So she can literally be called on for those moments where you're having the darkest of times. Okay, just amazing for that. She's a sweetheart, but I feel like at times, sometimes she can be intimidating. Sometimes, not like I have a good relationship with Santísima. Like I love her so much, but I can definitely say some of her other colors have different feelings, and I hope that others can like confirm what I'm saying in the comments, because La Roja is very, very sweet and like, of course, ruling like love and relationships. Blanca is has this purifying, like walks into the room and just very like, it has like a holy feeling. I don't know how to explain it. And then La Negra is very like I don't know, like very stern, very like, I got the ship, nothing's gonna touch this, like very like, I don't know how else to explain it, but still very loving, still like all of that is there. It's just that there is a seriousness when it comes to working with La Negra. You can definitely do baneful workings with La Negra, and you know, more darker spell work is what I'm gonna call it for this video. Especially if you're trying to hex and trying to do, you know, some things, is La Negra that you're gonna want to work with for that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's basically her specific, like, not properties, but her specific for the color black, what she works really, really well with. With that said, you can work with her in different ways. I like to, like you guys know, I like to buy these quadros, and they'll have like a prayer in the back. All of them are different. All of the different colors are different, right? And I also have the black cologne. I have the red one as well, which I use for La Roja. The black one I use for La Negra, obviously. But there's certain things that you can buy to work specifically with her. I also like to use the cologne for protection or anointing the candle. I will clean her her statue with La Negra, even though I have, technically, my Santa Muerte statue is made of bone. It's white. So technically, I have the statue of La Blanca, but I also have this in her altar. I have the red in her altar. I have the white in her altar. I have like majority of her colors in her altar. So I also like to have the other things. So when I'm working with La Negra, I'm working with La Negra, right? So yeah, so there's certain things that you'll be able to buy. There's some oils that will be like specifically made black for her. There's certain things that are made specifically for certain colors, so you do have to keep that in mind as well. But yeah, definitely it's something that I highly recommend working with La Negra, especially once you've gotten a little bit comfortable. Like I've said previously, her most popular color is red. Okay, because La Roja is love, relationships, you know, all that stuff. But when it comes to like La Blanca, she's also very popular, but La Negra is it's up there with popularity. It's just that I find that some people can be intimidated by La Negra, so don't be intimidated by her. She's really amazing, she's really powerful, she's really, I mean, all of her forms are powerful, but she's really powerful, she's really amazing, she's a sweetheart, but she can come off a little bit more intimidating in strength and like composure than some of her other colors as well. But yeah, I hope that this was, you know, a good breakdown for you guys to understand working with La Negra. And thank you so much for watching this video. I love you guys so much. I will see y'all in the next one. Have a very, very blessed day.